Eagles Nation, Eagles Universe, Eagles haters. All y'all out there watching. What up? It's another week. It's another episode. Eagles Elite Podcast. Y'all know what it is. We had a bye week last week, so we had a chance to reset. We got some guys back. We're going to talk about that in the news. We got to figure out what's going on, what's happening in between our QB1 and the head coach who keeps meddling in everything even when he don't need to. There's that, right? Man, we got a game, Browns. Everybody walking around like, oh, it's gonna be easy. We're gonna go in there. If we don't beat the Browns by 21 points, then we need to fire everybody. Slow your roll. If you've been watching the league this year, you know a lot of teams that you expect to win been losing, including your very own Philadelphia Eagles twice. So we're gonna get into all that. We welcome you in the comments, of course. If you happen to see the replay, you happen to come in late, we may not see your comments live, but still support us. Support us. That being said, we getting the squad on. Wyatt, what up, man?
What's going on, cool? What's going on, Eagles Nation? Ready for another game here after the bye week. Normally I'm excited for a game coming off the bye, but I mean, with everything going on between last year and these first couple games, man, it's looking a little dire. But if we get a lot of people back, though, which we'll get into.
It was a good thing Wyatt wasn't here last week, y'all. The universe set that up. Diva, what up?
What's going on, Eagles Nation? We back, ready to talk some football.
We're gonna make one little adjustment here. We'll do a little screen flippage. We're gonna go ahead and shout out first 502 Angel Radio, where you can always listen to episodes of the Eagles Elite Podcast. Shout out Shady Sports Network. And of course, if you're listening, watching, telepathically hearing, whatever, always make sure you go to at Eagles Elite Podcast on YouTube and support your peoples. But with that out the way, hey, y'all know where it starts. We don't change it up at all. Y'all know where it starts. Eagles updates. Wyatt, you were not here last week. We held it down. Down. But you here this week. What you got for us, man?
Yes, sir. So we officially opened the 21-day practice windows for Sidney Brown and also Anaya Smith. Anaya Smith's coming off of IR, and Sidney Brown's coming off the PUP list, I believe. But I mean, it looks like they're going to get him. I don't know about Anaya Smith, but it looks like Sidney Brown might get some immediate action depending on how he's looking in practice here this week.
Yep. Anything else in the news category, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. As everybody probably knows, as of right now, old Devin White has been officially released. He's not even going to hit waivers or anything. He's officially like a free agent. Apparently, they also made a deal on the back end to free up some money for us as well. But very interesting situation as far as Devin White's concerned. Because he was getting first team reps for most of training camp and OTAs and everything, and hasn't even played a single down for us during the season so far. It's so strange. Like he hasn't even been active, let alone play a snap for us, and now he's released. And I know you were hearing rumors about what was going on within the locker room and such. It's just such a strange situation with him.
Yeah. I tell you, I make it kind of simple. But what I heard, he was not very happy with not being a starter, which rightfully so. You've been talked about like you're gonna be the starter. You kind of got that expectation, and then boom, you start somebody else. Now, if you get outplayed, you get outplayed. But the main thing that I heard was that the situation with him was that essentially he refused to play special teams, or he refused to, do anything besides play linebacker, inside linebacker. And they was like, look, man, if you're gonna, be on a team, if you're not gonna be the starter, sometimes we need you to help out in other positions. And he was like, nah. And then he was kind of, not being the biggest supporter of the guy playing in front of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, those type of things. Honestly, man, I can't necessarily knock a guy that's young and hungry and wants to play and felt like he somehow lost his job. But you do have to be a team player.
Yeah.
When you let it get to the point where the organization say, you know what, we'll let you keep some of the money even though you ain't played, give us back the rest of the money and get. I mean, to me, that says it's probably a little bit more than what's going out. They just trying to keep it on the level just to keep things cool for him moving forward. But
Yeah.
that's crazy work for me, personally.
Yeah, because I mean, you would think that even if they give you the opportunity to play special teams, if depending on how well you do, that could open up opportunities to be playing on defense.
Right.
But I mean, speaking of the defense, the other news I have is I don't know if we've heard from the actual coaches or not as of yet, but they're saying Cooper DeJean going to be starting here this week. He's going to be taking over Avonte Maddox's role, which it's about time. We've been waiting for that a little bit. How Maddox has been over these first 4 or 5 games. It's been pretty bad. He's been burnt toast.
Non-existent.
Right. Diva, anything you want to say about Avonte Maddox or about Devin White?
I mean, it was a bad pickup. We probably could have used that for something else if you know what I'm saying. It was gonna be an issue. But I guess it is what it is. We just have to use the money for something else. As far as Devontae go, yeah, I mean, I ain't want him back no way. Because he always injury prone. And I just wasn't feeling him this year. Period. I already knew it was gonna be something. So I mean, I see why. I mean, he been burnt toast for the last 3, 4 games. So yeah, I mean, we need to. I'm glad Cooper DeJean is taking his spot because we need to level up there.
Yeah, it was looking bad, and that Superman pose he did when he missed that tackle in the last game, that sealed it. Like, this dude needs to get out of here. You can't even you can't even get a wide open tackle out
Right.
here. Like, come on now.
Facts.
Benny Boom
What's popping, Biddy?
in
What's
the
up, Benny?
building. I got on my Benny Boom creation tonight, the BBC. You know what I'm saying? He says, Elite family, what's popping? Chilling, man, chilling. Yeah, another week. You know who we talking. In the building. What up, We ain't seen you in the comments in a while. You been
Yeah, where
watching.
you been?
It's been on
He
quite
been
a while.
lurking. Just ain't been in the comments. He be lurking though. He says, good evening, everyone. Must not be on that hen dog yet. Also says we're going to get to regret this like we regret trading Reddit. I don't think we're gonna regret this like the. Let me say this. I regret that we traded Reddit and we didn't bring in a guy, even if he was alongside Huff, that we felt could help the team on the rush, right? So I don't have a problem necessarily with getting rid of Reddick because I feel like we would be in the same situation the Jets are in if we kept him. I think the issue is that we didn't bring in someone else, even if you just felt like, oh, we'll bring in somebody to kind of challenge that way. I ain't really clear the hat right. But I feel like if we had brought in another player or two, maybe lesser talent, but kind of does the same thing, I feel like that's where we made the mistake. Not necessarily Huff, because you thought he was going to be more, but because you didn't try to shore that up a little bit more. Does that make sense, y'all?
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure I make, because sometimes you be talking and everything sounds like perfect sense to you, but other people like, what? So I want to make sure I ain't having one of them moments. Benny says it's time for the youth movement on defense. These young guys need to show up and show out.
Yeah.
I agree. And then answers us by saying incognito, like my man Luda, rap name Luda. All right. Hey, Benny said you need to talk to me tomorrow. Benny, holla at your boy. Holla at your boy. We'll chop it up. But I think it's a good move for Devin White to be able to get out and get somewhere where he's going to be used. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the role he wanted. It ended up being his, and he wasn't able to be enough of a professional to handle everything. And I'm not saying he went out and was like yelling at people and arguing with people in the locker room, but you can tell when people have an attitude. And when your coach is saying, "Hey, we need you to do this," and you getting like $7.5 million and you refuse to do it, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like there's two sides to this. The one side is if there was a situation where, hey man, you may not be the starter, even though you're looking good right now, and that was communicated to him, and he had that information, then he still act like this is one thing. But if he kind of felt like and never was told, like, look, man, you are playing well now, you're the starter now, but that's a dude on your heels. And if you're not the starter, we're gonna ask you to do other things. And you're like, all right, at a time because you think you're starting. Then you're not starting, also, and all of a sudden it's a problem. If that's the situation, I'm looking at it totally different. But in either one of those situations, you still got to be a consummate professional and do what's needed. And that's
Yeah,
where I think
absolutely.
Devin White didn't step up for the Eagles, and that's why he's going to be moving on. I mean, I would love to have the body, I'd love to have the plays that he's made, but if you're not willing to do what's needed to help the team the best, you got to go. This is not any player, any player Eagles. This is the Philadelphia Eagles. So it is what it is. So I'm a lot of talking here. You guys have any thoughts on any of the stuff that happened so far? Because we got a few things we're gonna dig into that I know y'all definitely have a lot of opinions on. So I think
We can get to it.
opportunity to speak.
We
We're
can
gonna do
get
that
to
right.
it.
All right, cool.
Let go.
Want to make sure. You know what I'm saying? All right. So next, Jalen Hurts. Talk about Jalen Hurts. So based on what you've seen, based on what you read, based on what you've seen from him the rest of the season, well, in the past, right? Up until 4 weeks into this season. What do you guys expect to see from our QB1 for the rest of the season? Diva, I want you to go last on this one. I want you to go last on this one. Why? What do you expect? Oh, I think Wyatt froze. I'll go
Yeah,
ahead
I
and
think we
go.
all froze for a minute. My bad.
You good.
Yeah, everything froze all, and I didn't know what was going on. I was like, because both your screens went away.
Oh,
But
we'll
anyway,
talk.
I
Have a
mean,
good
I'll
all
go if you
time.
want. I mean, out of Jalen Hurts, though, I mean, it depends on how involved Nick Sirianni is in this offense. But I mean, I expect him to clean up the turnovers. I mean, he's had a turnover in every single game so far this season. We can't be having that, whether it's fumbles or interceptions. You just got to play it safe. Take the plays that are being given to you. I don't care if it's just little dump off routes or what have you, but you got to clean it up. Whether I don't know, I feel like a lot of it has to do with Sirianni. And I mean, it was weird. I don't know if you saw any of his press conference today, but he had a quote saying this was like his most efficient bye week he's had since he's been in the league. So I'm wondering how much they are actually trying to change things up, or at least what Jalen's trying to do over this bye week to clean up his game. I'm hoping that they give full control of the offense to Kellen Moore like it should be. You know, Sirianni should only be involved with going forward on fourth downs. I mean, he hasn't even proved competent at that so far this season, but he should be only in those type of decisions. As far as like game plan or play calling, that should all be Kellen Moore, because I feel like Nick doesn't know Hurts' strengths for some reason, and he doesn't game plan or call plays based off of those strengths well. And I feel like Kellen Moore at least would. I mean, I feel like Kellen Moore has designed this playbook to fit Jalen's play style, and then they're just for some reason not using it because Sirianni wants to, look like the guy in charge, like it's his offense and everything. I think, I mean, I know we'll talk about Sirianni in a bit, but I feel like it all comes down to him and what he's going to do here. But I mean, we still can't have him making turnover worthy plays though on the field, because that's not Sirianni's fault. That's Hurts' fault for doing that. But I mean, I expect him to clean it up. I mean, we always talk about how Hurts normally plays well under pressure, and I mean, with pressure surmounting here with all these turnovers and possible losses mounting up, I think he'll turn it up here, whether he has to take over games with his legs or go another route. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like last year where they're just like calling plays in the huddle with AJ Brown and everything, like we saw. I think it was against the Seahawks. I don't know. It just needs cleaned up overall. I'm hoping to God these people did something over this bye week, because I know they didn't practice. We didn't hear about them actually having any practices over the bye week. So I'm hoping they were tweaking the game plan, doing something. Jeffrey Lurie yelling at Nick Sirianni behind the scenes, hopefully get his head straight. But I think everything just comes down to game plan and Kellen Moore as far as Hurts' success for the rest of the season.
All right, I want Diva purposely to go last because I think I know where she's gonna go, and I would love for that to be the closeout because it'll be a blend of me and Wyatt. But it'll of course have our own spin on it. Um, I expect Hurts to use all of his abilities. My biggest knock on Hurts through the first 4 games. I know everybody wants to talk about turnovers, but if you watch any football Sunday, you see turnovers are gonna happen. No, I don't care who your quarterback is, right? They're right there talking about, oh, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, man, they played a perfect game, no turnovers. Right after that, Burrow throws an interception, Jackson gets a fumble. Aaron Rodgers threw like 5 interceptions, it's really 3, but five, like 3 interceptions in that game. Donald had an interception, right? So if you look around the league, the turnovers are going to happen. The frustration, the only part that frustrates me with Hurts is the fumbles. I need the fumbles to stop. The picks, if you're going to throw the ball 30 to 40 times with a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, they're going to get him. They're going to get him.
Yeah.
But when you see the opportunities to use your legs, when you see that everyone is covered, when you're down a receiver or more, when they're out for a play, right? Somebody's hurt, whatever the situation, they're not in the game. Use your legs, use your running back, use audibles, run the freaking ball. I get frustrated when I see a mobile quarterback, a dual threat quarterback like Jalen Hurts, sit in the pocket and try to act like he's a Tom Brady, he's a Drew Brees, he's that type of quarterback. I'm not saying skill wise, but I'm saying just sitting in that pocket and waiting for everything to happen. You understand the days in the NFL, you get about 4 or 5 seconds. After that, it's a wrap. If you're still holding that ball in 4 or 5 seconds and you're not running, you're getting sacked or you're getting stripped. So I just need him to, like a lot of people say, he doesn't understand the game. That's not true. For some reason, what's being presented to him, he's not processing it in time at the moment to get the ball out like he needs to make the plays that need to be made. So that's something that definitely he needs to work on. Fumbles, that's definitely he needs to work on. When I think of interceptions, as long as we don't have 5 fumbles, as long as we don't have 2 interceptions and a fumble every game, if he throws a pick, he throws a pick. But what I want to do, if that does happen, and I don't want it to happen every week, but if it does happen, turn around and play ball. Act like you didn't even do it. Get back out there, get the offense together. Use your mind, sir. You have a brilliant football mind. You read great pre-snap. That's why you make audibles. But when you get into reading, if you understand it, I'm only going to be able to process 3 reads. Read 1, read 2, and either I got to run or I got to throw to the third read if the first 2 are open. It's very rarely in today's NFL, especially with you, everybody knowing to come from the left on you, or force you to the left, because that's the area with my left, which would be your right. No, yeah, depending on how you're looking at it, but force you to the left side where you're not as accurate, where you're not as good. So that's what people are going to try to do. So hopefully, during this bye week, you working on ways to. I know the pressure is going to come from the right a lot. I know if the pressure is coming from the left, I can run through that pressure because they're not respecting me throwing there that much. If AJ Brown is clearing and going on a deeper route. So use the things that people are going to do against you. They're going to blitz you. They're always going to blitz you because they believe that you can't handle the blitz. Make them eat that. They believe you can't make the quick reads. Make them eat that. They believe you only run if it's a desperate situation, so they're not spying you. When have we seen a quarterback spy on Jalen Hurts? He's one of the fastest guys as a quarterback in the league because they don't expect him to run on a regular basis. Make them spy you to open up the passing game, to take a person out of the passing game, to give you less people that you have back there. That's what I expect from Jalen Hurts, and I expect you to win games. That's what I expect for you the rest of the season. Diva, the floor is yours, man.
I mean, I just expect him to be a lot better at his reads because he's really not that good at them. I'm really hoping that he took this week to really reevaluate himself. I mean, I understand interceptions gonna happen, but I don't want him every game. I do want him to work on his interceptions. Just be smart about when you throwing the ball and how you throwing it. Like, I think my problem with Jalen is, and the reason why he have so many interceptions is because he locks in on his target. So defenders are reading, okay, well, he's going to AJ Brown. Okay, well, he's going to Devontae. Like they already know. So instead of him like throwing him off by looking at somebody else, like he's going to throw that way and then throw to whoever he wants, you got to switch it up. Like you can't let them know who you throwing to all the time so they can get coverage on that player. And so I think that that's the problem that I have with him is stop locking in on your players. Like good quarterbacks will look at other players and fake throw and fake punt like they're gonna throw it and then throw it to who they want to throw it to, but you're throwing a defender off their game. So they don't know who you're gonna go to. Um, so I definitely want him to work on that. I mean, I just hope that, when he comes back on Sunday that he has a better mind frame because it looks like he's just not his mind frame is just not there like it was in 2022. I just don't know if he don't feel comfortable because of, what's going on. And still we're gonna get to your comment. But when you don't feel like you have stability in your coaching, that causes turmoil for a quarterback. And there's no stability in his coaching like he had with Steichen. You know what I'm saying? Like he knew Steichen knew his abilities and he knew how to call plays to his ability and how to run the offense. And so I think that is one of the problems as we see in the past 2 years going on now is that there's no stability for Jalen. He doesn't know how to, accept that and know how to run with that. So I just want him to be more comfortable. Like he doesn't really look comfortable on the field a lot of times when he's making reads or, when he's looking down the field. Like he just feels real jittery. You know what I'm saying? He's just kind of making spontaneous throws. And I think that's where the interceptions are coming in a lot. And then, him not taking care of the football. Like that's not Jalen. He takes care of the football. So I think it has a lot to do with the coaching. But I really hope that he has reevaluated himself and, that he kind of looks and worked on his weaknesses because that's the problem is especially if you're going to roll out to your left, then you need to roll out and run. You know what I mean? If somebody ain't open after you get to that third count, run. You know what I mean? Don't sit there and try to force somebody to wait for somebody to get open or either throw it out of bounds. It's okay, throw it out of bounds, but don't sit there and force yourself to sit in that pocket and then you get sacked. You know what I'm saying? Or you get strip sacked for a fumble. So I hope that he, has reevaluated that. That's what I expect. But I do expect him to kind of take control like he did when we saw him in the Packers game where he basically just took control. It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna run. You know what I'm saying? Nobody open, let me run. That's what I want to see when you feel like when you see nobody's open, just take it down and run. Or if it's a calling, they want to pass the ball and you feel like, you can hand it off to Saquon, I'll put the play and hand off to Saquon. Like that's how it is. Like running opens up so much more of the field. And if you run more with the ball, then you'll be able to open up the field more the way that you want it and throw who you want to throw to, and they'll be able to get open. But you got to run the ball, man. Like if the coach is not going to do it, then you got to do it.
All right. So we got a couple of comments here on this topic. So first, Benny says, Diva, don't be quiet. I know you have a lot to say. Diva always has a lot to say. That's all right. That's why she's here. If she don't want to talk, we don't need her here, right? None of us. Stu says, in the building says, no preseason for the offseason. The offense means lack of chemistry in the offense. The offense has been in the hands of Kellen Moore the entire time. Stop blaming Nick because it's easy. So would either one of you like to comment on that before I comment on that?
Well, I just want to say I blame Nick because we seeing a lot of the same shit we saw last year. It's a lot of the same bad decisions.
Nick's already admitted that he has a lot to do with the offense. And I mean, come on, I know you watched Kellen Moore. I know you watched him over there with Dallas. I know you watched him over there with the Chargers. You know that is not Kellen Moore calling them plays. It might be a few here and there, but Kellen Moore is a runner. Like that's why Zach and Pollard had the good years that they had. And you see, as soon as he was gone, they got rid of Zeke. You know what I'm saying? And Zeke was not as good as he was. So he's a runner. He likes to run the ball because he understands that running opens up the pass play. That is a lot of Nick's calling. Nick still wants to be in control of stuff. And you could tell because just like Wyatt said, you see a lot of stuff that you see last year. And then your quarterback would not look the way he looked if Kellen Moore was in full control of that offense. That's just point blank, period.
Yeah. I mean, it's so weird how the offenses look. I know it's completely different offensive coordinators, but they've gone away from everything that made Jalen Hurts good in like 2022. Like they don't use RPOs nearly as much as they used to. They don't run the ball nearly as much as they used to. They're going for it on fourth downs when they really shouldn't be in a lot of situations that have taken points. It's just like a lot of the same mistakes that keep happening ever since that Super Bowl season that it seems like Nick is a part of. He's the one that's the game manager. Yeah, he lets Kellen Moore call plays here and there, but you can easily tell when it seems like it switches up in the middle of the game. Like you'll have a nice drive up until we get towards the red zone, and then there's a couple plays you're like, that's very weird because we were on a roll. Seems like things were going good, and then you start switching up plays where it just doesn't seem like it fits with the scheme that they were running previously. And it just seems like that's Nick. It seems like Nick is forcing certain things in there when he really shouldn't be. Like, I understand you want to game manage, but that's why you have an offensive coordinator. Let him call the plays.
So I've been listening to a lot of Eagles podcasts, showing love, obviously, to other creators, and also, getting other sides because, we look at it from our side. And one of the things that most people have said, which I 100% agree with, is Kellen Moore is calling plays for the most part. But what's happening is critical situations, third down and shorts, fourth downs. Do we kick the field goal? Do we go for it? Do we try a play that doesn't have a high percentage of going? Do we try something that has a high percentage of going in those situations? Those are things that feel like Nick Sirianni plays, right? So it's not that Kellen Moore doesn't have the offense in his hands, but he's being overridden by Sirianni. So what happens when you're overriding the OC as the head coach? Unless you're, so say you're like, Andy Reid, and you're like, nah, we're gonna do this play, right? Andy Reid in Kansas City, not Eagles Andy Reid, that never won, but Andy Reid in Kansas City. So when you're looking at those things, you're saying, why would he go and negatively affect the play when everything's going good, right? Why would he go with the drives moving? Why would he come in and say, let's go for it on 4th and 2 at the 5-yard line when we can kick that field goal and get a 3? We need to start taking the points. And I understand there's times where you want to go for it and go for the gusto. But all of our games, if we take the points when we're getting down there, even if it's not a touchdown, but we take the points, we're probably we could definitely be 4-0. We could be 3-1. We could be 1-3. But if we take all the points, I think we could be 4-0. Now, where I think things get overblown both ways on Hurts, on Moore, on Fangio, on Sirianni, we're 2-2 right now. We were 3-1 this time last year because we lost to the Jets, right? Which we should have lost to with Zach Wilson, but we lost to the Jets. So comparing to last season, where we're at so far, I mean, we're one game worse, and we have a 70% new defense from last year. So a lot of those guys are new pieces. So they've got to learn everything. And one of the things that was being said, I don't know the truth in this one, but one of the things that's being said is on the defensive side that Avonte Maddox looks so bad. And like I said, I'm not saying this is true or not because I haven't done the research to look at this, but this is what some people said on different shows. Is because he's calling out like, hey, take this player. But the other guy's like, nah, I'm doing this, and not saying who's right or wrong, but he's trying to be a leader, so to speak. And he's trying to call the handoffs, and other guys are not accepting those handoffs. So here he sits with two people in his zone, one he's trying to hand off, and another guy he should be getting to, but he's having to get to him later because the zone is not working. My thought for that when I saw it was, then adapt. If we're not playing off band 10 yards, off press coverage every play, whatever you want to call it, crap we're playing, most
or 15 yards,
then it's better, right? Quinyon Mitchell can cover. And honestly, I understand why we're in that sometimes because Slay can't. I'm just going to be a buck with you. At this point in his career, Slay is not as fast as he used to be. So you can't put him man coverage every time. You got to give him a cushion. But 10 yards, if he needs a 10-yard cushion, then we need to see Isaiah Rodgers, you know what I'm saying, Eli Ricks, and whoever else. If he needs a 10-yard cushion. Now, I get it. You're a little bit older. You need a little cushion. But 10 yards, if you got to get 10 yards to make a play, bro, y'all need to be doing something a little bit different in that locker room as far as that depth chart goes. But for me, you have to blame Sirianni for the bonehead things that are happening at the wrong times, right? And one thing about game plans, you set up a game plan from play one to the end of the game. You have certain things you want to do. You may not be able to do those things the entirety of the game, or you may be setting up, you may get an I form strong and just run off tackle 3 or 4 times. But then you get a certain play at a certain time and you run a play action over the top, couple of trips, I form Y trips, and you get a big play. So he may be trying to set things up, but on those plays that you trying to pay off or trying to do something different, here comes Sirianni. Oh, let's not do that. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And I think that's where the issue for me is with Sirianni versus Moore. I do see a lot of things that Kellen Moore doing, but then I see 2 plays later something that doesn't look very Kellen Moorish, but looks very similar to what I've seen over the past 2 to 3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's 2
Suspicious.
years.
That's where my issue is. All right, then a couple more comments here. So Benny says, so for the 4 years that Nick has been here, you're telling me that Nick doesn't know Jalen's strength?
Yes, sir.
I mean, we
Yeah.
all seen his press conferences.
Yes.
This dude is not a critical thinker.
Yes,
Yes.
that's what we're telling you. Yes,
Yes.
Yeah,
1,000%. Yes,
100%.
that's what we're telling you, Benny.
Mhm.
Damien says Nip still taking plays from Tecmo Poe. Yes, he is, sir. That's what it feels like for some of the stuff that he's doing. Benny says Nick was a wide receiver in college that never got drafted in the NFL. Kellen Moore played in the NFL. Nick wants to live through the wide receiver play because he never got that chance. Hey, I don't necessarily disagree. Coach Dante says, "What's good? What's good, Coach Dante?"
I think I think Sirianni trying to be what Andy Reid was to the Eagles. I think he really wants to be that, and he's not.
So now Unc says game plan and play calling has been Kellen Moore all year. Going for it on fourth, okay, blame Nick, but the rest is Kellen. Yeah, see, I don't disagree with that. I don't agree with that assessment. I think
Yeah, I mean,
about
he's already said he's called plays.
yeah, I
Right.
think
Here and
about 80%, maybe even 85% is Kellen Moore. But there are times when Sirianni is saying, no, instead of doing that, I want to do this. Right.
Mhm.
And my issue with that again, I go back to this every week. We were sold a bill of goods in the offseason. The Sirianni was going to let Kellen Moore call plays, Vic Fangio call plays, and he was going to be a general manager type, a rah-rah guy. He makes sure they got what they need and stuff like that. And he wasn't going to be interjecting much into the game planning and play calling. I don't think he's doing that with Fangio, but he's not doing it. Well, see, here's what I want you to say about what I'm saying. My coach can agree. They may not agree with me either because everybody don't have to agree with me. It's all good. Stu, he says he called a few fourth down plays and said that's why I disagree. Because there are times where you see a play, and that play is exactly something that you saw last year, the
Right.
year before that,
Right.
Jalen Hurts' first year there, right? If it's the same type of play that's still being called, I very much vehemently disagree that Kellen Moore came here and he's calling plays that have never been greatly successful, right? You can watch the flow of the game. You know these things. You can watch the flow of the game, and sometimes you see a play and it just doesn't mix. It just doesn't mesh with the rest of the game plan. It doesn't make any sense. It's an outlier. Those, I believe, are Nicholas Tidy Pants Sirianni plays.
And even
right.
a few fourth down plays are drive killers. They can just kill your whole momentum.
Right.
Yeah,
When you should be
ahead.
running the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like the third and threes or the third and ones, especially the third and threes or third and 5. Kellen Moore's gonna run that ball. Like, come on, I know you watch. Even though we don't like Dallas, you've seen that man run
At
an
least twice
offense
a year
over
you've
there in
seen it.
Dallas. You're right. So you can't tell me that all that is Kellen Moore. Man, no. A lot of that is Nick. Like when you see the first 2 plays running the ball, that's Kellen Moore. Then Nick's like, oh, let's go and throw it 50 yards down the field, Jalen. That's Nick. On a 3rd and 5? Come on, bro. Come
And you
on.
also
Yeah,
got to think if Kellen Moore wants to run the ball on 3rd and 2, and Nick says, "No, let's do a pass play," you're still interrupting what he really wants to do. So now he's got to go and try to find a pass play when he already had a plan for what he wanted to do for that drive or that set of downs. So you got to think some of that's probably happening as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think he's involved with game planning too. I mean, look at the
I mean, he
Buccaneers
already
game.
said it though. Come on, Stu. Like, man already said he still calls plays. Period. Man
Yeah.
ain't gonna sit up there and lie when you didn't hear him
Said
say
no,
that
the
when
fuck he wouldn't.
Steichen was up there.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey
look at
man,
the
if that's
Bucks
how you
game. It
feel,
looked like a game from last year. Like you're missing your top stars, and you're not throwing it short or medium. You're keep having these long developing plays when you're playing a team that just blitzes you all the time. It's the same game plan from last year. Like you're not scheming guys open. You're not taking what's given to you. You're not having these short plays like Baker Mayfield was taking advantage of us for. Like nothing has changed as far as game planning. Like it's pitiful.
No, Kellen Moore ain't get fired for not running the ball. That mug ain't like Dak. That man ran the ball.
I watched Kellen Moore get fired from Dallas for not running the ball. I watched Kellen Moore get fired from Dallas because somebody had to be the scapegoat for Jason Garrett.
Basically.
It's like Brian Johnson, scapegoat Nick Sirianni.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Brian Johnson in Washington.
Look at him now.
And I'm not saying that Kellen Moore. Yeah, and I'm not saying that Kellen Moore is the god of play calling. He's the greatest addition ever to the Eagles, and he's the guy to take us from where we were last year to a Super Bowl. But I'm saying allow him to call the plays, right?
Give him the fair
allow
shot.
him to do the play he wants. If he wants to run, allow him to run. If he wants to throw, allow him to throw. If he wants to, we've got the tush push, brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it, in the bag. Anything 3rd and 4 or under, we should get a first down, even if it takes 2 tries. Do I want to use that every play? No. But when it's necessary, why are we not using that in the red zone? If we got 3rd and 5, we should be going tush push, and then 4th down, we should be going tush push again. Brotherly shove. I call it tush push. Call it brotherly shove, whatever.
Listen, and if you're not tush pushing, you got Saquon Barkley. You can't tell me he can't get them 5 yards in the red zone. He can't get that touchdown. He can't run and get that. Come on now. Stop playing. Stop playing with me.
And that's not the place to be cute either. No. That's not the place to be cute. You want to do like an end around or a toss, cool. But let's not do a fake brotherly shove, run out to the side. That's not a good play in that situation when the defense is already on that side, ready for the tush push, and then here you come trying to run Saquon that way. That's not a good play call. And whether that's Kellen Moore, whether that's Sirianni, whether that's a blend, we don't need to be being too cute. We can run up an I form big or goal line up and give it to them. That's what I would want to do when we get in the red zone. I feel like inside the 6-7 yard line, don't even throw the ball. Your quarterback, don't even throw the ball. If you want to line everybody up like you trying to do a 4 wides or 3 wides to the running back, and you just want to give him a couple of lanes, let him pick, cool. If you want to do some RPO in there, cool. Everybody says, oh, they caught up to the RPO. That's the problem. They haven't caught up to the RPO. We're not properly using the RPO.
Yeah, exactly.
We use run, pass.
Right. RPO is run or pass, not run or run.
Right.
That's the option. That's not RPO. We got to get back to I'm giving you the ball, or I'm dropping back and throwing based on what they're showing me. And if I can't give you the ball because they're on you, and I can't throw because they're on the guys that I can see quick, then I take off. That's what an RPO is.
Yeah. I mean, you have Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts is fast and can use his feet. Like, there's no reason for him to be throwing 30, 40 times a game.
Yeah, it's too much. That's definitely too much. I wouldn't mind if we get that down to about between 28 and 32, 33 a game.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be happy right there. Because some games you do need to throw more, depending on how the game is. But games that you don't have to. Look at this. We had Jared Goff 18 for 18 for a perfect game. If he threw 35 balls, it wouldn't be a perfect game.
Mm-mm.
It's all about minimizing and working with the skills that your quarterback has. And even if you got a quarterback that can sling it all over the field, sometimes you run the freaking ball and don't worry about it. But good conversation. Like I said, you ain't got to agree with everything the way we see it. It's all good. We all different. We all got our own beliefs. We all go into it looking at it a certain way. But the one thing is we all Eagles fan, and here we respectful, right? We ain't up here telling you don't know what you're talking about, you're stupid, none of that, because we don't do that around here. We do what we do. So we're gonna take us Yeah, we got to agree with everything. So we're gonna do something wild here, y'all. We're gonna do something real wild. We're gonna do the intro now, and then we're gonna come back and talk about Nick Sirianni. Let's go.
The kick is away, and the kick is it's good, and the Eagles win.
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
So I don't want to let it go. So he says I'm about to go on a live stream shortly with a Cowgirl fan that will tell y'all that Kellen Moore doesn't run the ball. Well, I do a show called NFC Beast. You can catch it right here on Saturdays at 9 p.m. With a Cowboys fan who will tell you that Kellen Moore does run the ball. So while you have one that says he doesn't, I can give you something that says he does. Now, does he run it 40 times a game? No. But he's not somebody just throwing the ball all day. And he likes his quarterback to find lanes and run. Remember when Dak was running when he got hurt a couple of times, freak injuries, that was running the ball because Kellen Moore, his OC, likes to give lanes at certain times for the quarterback to have if he's a guy that's mobile. We're not seeing a lot of that with Jalen either. And like I said, what you consider running the ball may be 30 times a game. What we consider running the ball, you get Saquon like 20 touches a game, we happy, right?
I'm ecstatic with 20 touches a game.
Yeah, because we don't want to get too many anyway, because my man ain't really been a healthy dude most of his career. So I'm not trying to get him beat, but so bad. But hey, I support the live stream, man. Do your thing. I'm just saying.
So Kellen Moore was seventh with the Cowboys, 126 yards per game and running.
But he doesn't run the ball, according to
Man, I'm just happy when we run the ball after last year and everything. Like, I just want us to run the ball, period.
And use the other guys too. All right, so that brings us to the next
switch up a little bit.
That brings us to the next topic. Is Sirianni hindering the offense? So we've kind of talked about this already. I'll just simply add to this. There's times when it's okay to go for it. There's times where, as a head coach, you really watching the flow of the game and you feeling like we done had 2, 3, 4 drives and we've been able to do this and that. So, hey, man, let's not do that. Let's do this. And I get that happens. But with Sirianni, personally, I'm sure that my co-host may echo the sentiment, but I'm just going to speak for myself. I'll let them speak for themselves. For me, Nicky Tight Pants doesn't have a good understanding of the overall flow of play calling. So when he interjects plays or he wants to do this or that versus some other coaches that have been play callers before and have taken the time to understand that flow of the game, I don't think he really does. So I think the times where he calls certain things or wants a run play or wants a pass play, and that's against what the flow of the game is telling Kellen Moore to do, those things are hurting us. He's admitted he's done some on fourth down. He admitted there's been some bad plays that he's calling. He has called some plays this year. So we can sit here and argue for an hour about how many plays he's calling. But I do believe he is calling some of the plays based on they look exactly like what we've been seeing that hasn't been that greatly effective. Every once in a while it is, but for the most part, it's not effective. Diva, what do you think?
I mean, he is hindering us to a certain extent. I mean, when you really don't understand the flow of the game and you don't understand when to call certain plays at certain times of a game, and that's causing you to lose games or lose points or not take points, that's hindering. I mean, because you're messing up the flow of the coordinator. If the coordinator understands the flow when he knows, okay, well, we should do this play on the next down, and you're like, oh, no, let's do it this way. And then you mess up the whole flow of the offense and the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like he's hindering us. Like I said, some of the stuff you see is the same stuff you saw last year. We think, thinking it's Brian Johnson, but as you see, it was not Brian Johnson.
I said it.
We've been said it wasn't Brian Johnson. It was all Nick. So yeah, he is hindering it. And like you said, we was sold a story that he wasn't even gonna be even doing game prep planning. But he's doing it. And he's still calling plays, and that's what's messing us up. And so yeah, he hindering offense. I need for him to just step back and do what he did in 2022 and be the cheerleader and rah on the sideline, and that's it. I don't even do nothing else. That's all you know how to do. Like, you're not Andy Reid, dude. I know you used to work behind Andy Reid, but you're not Andy Reid. Andy Reid understood the flow of the game and what plays to call. He just wasn't good with clock management, but he knew. He knew, especially when it comes to the red zone, he knew what to do. So I feel like he's trying to be a young Andy Reid, and he's not. So stop it. Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with both of you. Just to add on to that, he's just terrible situational awareness. I mean, he decides to go for it on fourth down whenever the offense is having a drive that just they're sputtering. They're just trying to find something. Nothing's working. You still decide to go for it. And then you decide to go for it on fourth down when your defense is giving up everything. You can't rely on your defense one bit, and then you still decide not to take points. And then you rely on your defense to try to get another stop when they haven't been able to all game. It boggles my mind how he hasn't been able to learn this over a couple years, how many years he's been here. It's insane. And it's he doesn't even have people I want to know what he does on a weekly basis, because based off of the Bucs game, nobody was ready to play that game, it seemed. What does he do as a head coach? Because none of these players look like they were ready to play or want to play for him. So it's I don't understand. I mean, I know we're how many weeks into the season, but what was the point of keeping Sirianni here? He's not great at running an offense or putting game plans together. Is he just here to be a cheerleader? If you're going to end up firing him possibly in the middle of a season or at the end of the season, why was he here at all? Everybody was questioning his role and authority after the debacle of the season. Why would you bring him on and keep him if you're just going to end up probably getting rid of him halfway through the season this year or at the end of the season? It's just, at this point, what does he even do well? We haven't even figured that out.
Ride the nuts of Howie.
And apparently that's why he has his job as of right now. He's just that yes man that'll do whatever he can. And I mean, he can't even do interviews correctly. He says the same things and just speaks word salad every day, and it doesn't make any sense. He just runs himself in circles. And I don't know. I just want somebody competent that can actually talk to the media, explain what's going on. We understand exactly what Fangio's saying. I mean, it may not look good on the field what's happening, but at least he has answers whenever he comes to a press conference and we see him try to adjust on a weekly basis. We can't even see that out of an offense.
Philip. So Unc says, I do watch parties where there's multiple Cowgirls fans 4 times a week. They've been saying it since the beginning of the season. Well, Unc, I would say one thing to you. If you are watching streams with multiple Cowgirls fans, shame on you, old school. Multiple. If you're watching streams, multiple. There's that. But I hear you, man. And some people believe that. Some people don't think 126 a game is good enough. They don't. And maybe it's not. But that doesn't constitute not running the ball for me.
Right.
Maybe there were times we could have run more, but he does like for his quarterback, and I will grant you this, he does like for his quarterback to get some air under that ball too and get some stats. He likes his quarterbacks to get statisticals, but his quarterbacks also throw picks because they throw 35, 40 times a game.
Right.
So that's kind of that give and that take.
And then you don't know where Jason Garrett was calling plays either.
That's a fair point. So Benny says, correction, Diva. Nick never worked under Andy Reid. Nick was fired on day one of Andy coming in the building. He was, but what she's saying is that tree, because he worked under Frank Wright, who is a disciple of Andy Reid. Mm-hmm. So she's saying really maybe the wording wasn't there, but he's a disciple of the Sirianni, the Sirianni tree. The Andy Reid tree.
He
I keep
wants to
looking
be
at
what
his
Andy
name
Reid
and
Nobody
was in
wants to be on that
Philadelphia.
tree.
Yeah, he wants to be what Andy Reid was in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I miss Shane Steichen.
So, quick question for you. Just someone want to throw out there, and anybody in the chat that you want to chime in, please chime in with us. We're here for the interaction. All right. So, quick question: with the players that are coming back, right? And we named them earlier, but definitely can give you names again if that's needed. With those people coming back, the question is, what changes, if any, need to be made? And when I'm saying changes, just to be clear for everybody, and I'm not talking to you guys, but I'm saying everybody watching. I mean, do we need to promote somebody, change the scheme, move some guys around? Like, what do you guys feel? And we can throw Cooper DeJean in here with it too, because even though he's technically been there the whole time, he really hasn't because he missed training camp, and now he's kind of getting up to speed after 5 weeks.
Are you talking
Why?
about an offense or both?
Both. I'm talking about
Both.
team, offense, special teams, defense. You know what I'm saying? Second
Yeah.
screen, third screen, depth chart, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, to start with offense, I mean, I just think we should be running the ball more from the get-go. We shouldn't be waiting until a whole quarter to get Saquon going. You need to get him going as soon as we have the first drive. Also, just stop relying on huge plays nearly as much. I know you want the big plays. I know you got Devontae and AJ. You want them to eat, but like you don't have to have these big plays all the time. Go with shorter throws. Go with little like medium throws across the middle. Get Dallas Goedert involved because it seems like Dallas Goedert's only getting involved really whenever we're missing one of the top
Everybody
two
hurt.
dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Get him involved more. You don't always have to go to AJ or have to go to Devontae. You have other dudes to mix in. Spread the ball around a little bit. Run the ball in between. That'll open up play action. Then you can have those big, plays every once in a while. You don't have to be trying to force them as much as they seem like they're trying to do on a week-to-week basis. Defense, I know they won't do it, but I wish they would try to rotate Slay out a little bit more, like we were talking about earlier, like how he's getting a little bad in coverage. He has to have a little extra cushion. Try rotating him out. See if that works a little bit. Put Rodgers somewhere or Ricks or, somebody. I don't know. I just wish they would try to do something else a little bit different within the secondary. We can't be having Nolan Smith covering, top wide receivers like Godwin, like they were doing against the Bucks. You need to find some way to generate pressure as well, which they have not been doing well at all. One bit. We haven't heard about Bryce Huff. We heard about Josh Sweat 4 weeks into the season, 5 weeks into the season. They need to find some way to create pressure. I don't know if they're just, I mean, he does blitz not a lot, but it seems like he waits too late into these games to start blitzing quarterbacks. But you need to find a way to generate pressure one way or another. And it just seems like he hasn't been able to try to do that. And hopefully he took this bye week to try to tweak the game plan to do that here. And also rotate some of these guys out as well. We haven't been seeing like a lot of rotations, I feel like, as of recently, especially on the defensive side. I mean, we've been seeing guys rotate on the same, like around different positions on the field, but we haven't seen guys being pulled out for other guys to keep them healthy or keep them, just the stamina up a little bit. We haven't been seeing that at all, really, at least from what I noticed. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to be done, and based off of everything last year and, the first 5 games this year, I don't know if I have the highest confidence that they're going to change what needs to be changed, especially with Nick Sirianni as the head coach here, because he hasn't proved that he is able to change at all.
Facts. I mean, you basically said it all. I mean, I think this week Jalen will be a lot comfortable because he got his main 2 dudes back. So I think he will feel more comfortable playing in the game. We might see the old Jalen back and probably for the rest of the season as long as nobody on offense get hurt. But yeah, I mean, spread the ball around. Like you got more than enough players to actually spread the ball around, and then that kind of takes heat off of AJ and Devontae because of course they know he's going to go to them, so they're going to try to keep them as covered as much. Which we know AJ is really good at breaking coverage, so it's really hard to cover him even when he got 2 defenders on him. But still, I mean, just spread the ball around enough to where everybody's getting touches, and then that way they really ain't gonna know who to cover because you just able to throw to any and everybody. You know what I'm saying? They catching balls. I hope we do start to see the running game a little bit more. Definitely need to, incorporate that a lot more point blank period. And as far as the defense go, yeah, I mean, you got to rotate. Like, I ain't like Gannon, but dang, Gannon would rotate. He would rotate the players out. You know what I'm saying? He might not know how to call no plays, might not know how to blitz, but he would rotate them out to keep everybody fresh. And then that keeps the offense guessing because you got different players coming in. They have different abilities and different skill levels. And so, I mean, I think that's why we're not adjusting is because you just got players playing the whole game, and you can't have Slay out there the whole game. We said that, man. You can't have Slay out there the whole 4 quarters trying to cover and think he about to just cover everybody and their mama. That's not about to happen. So yeah, get Isaiah Rodgers out there, get Eli Ricks out there, get Ringo out there, like, and then when guys get hurt and you put them out there and they getting burnt and lost, is because they're not getting first team reps. They're not really out there playing like that. We've already seen what Keely Ringo did. Like, he did good last year. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that we need to start switching it up some, and figure out a way to get pressure on the quarterback. I mean, we might get a hurry, but as far as like actually pressuring the quarterback and then feeling pressure, the only game I saw that was the Saints game. And that was really Jalen Carter. I mean, Jordan Davis did his thing here and there, but that was really just Jalen Carter being a monster. You know what I'm saying? So especially if Bryce Huff ain't doing nothing, you gotta find somebody to switch him in and out with, because he's just not giving the energy that we thought he would. So you gotta find something different.
Yeah. For me, you got a lot of pieces that you can now use based on the injury report from today and who finished practice. The only person that didn't finish practice was Nakobe Dean, and that's an ankle thing. That's a concern. I don't know if it's the same ankle or not, but this is, that was a concern last year. So when I see Nakobe Dean ankle injury left practice, that's a red flag for me. But outside of that, Reed Blankenship has an illness, but he finished practice. AJ Brown, he finished practice. Sidney Brown finished practice. Smith finished practice with the ankle. Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith, and Johnny Wilson all had concussions. They all finished practice. Lane is cleared. Johnny, I believe, is cleared. Devontae isn't cleared yet, but he's in the last stages, so he should be cleared before Sunday.
Yeah.
He could possibly be cleared as early as like tomorrow, Friday. But he'll be cleared, I think, by Friday or Saturday, for sure.
Yeah.
You want to take your time. You got 2 weeks, right? You had the rest of that game in 2 weeks, so you want to take the time. You don't want to really push and try to get him through too fast. Just let him go through. You got the time. You had the bye week, so we should be close as we've been all year to full strength, quote unquote. Nia Smith, Sidney Brown, they can both be elevated to the roster today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, next week, week after. But if they don't elevate them within that 21 days, then they can't elevate them at all this season. But I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think both of those guys are going to get out there. Now, I heard that one James Bradbury was going to be active, but I'm not seeing anything about him being cleared or active.
It's a name
I only bring it up just because there's been a lot of talk, like a lot of places, about that.
I was about to ask.
But right now he's still on IR, so he isn't back as of yet. So that information doesn't look like it was 100% on the accurate side. Like I said, Sidney and Anaya Smith are designated for return. I'd love to see both of those guys when they're able to get out there and do their thing. With Cooper DeJean being the starting nickel corner, it looks like, for this game, what we have is an interesting situation. He has versatility. He can play safety as well. So you may see him some snaps there. You may see him some at safety. You may see another guy going to nickel corner, right? If we're able to get Sidney Brown actually able to play in the game on Sunday, maybe we see him go there. I would say if there's an injury in the wide receiver group, that Paris Campbell should definitely be elevated first. Talent-wise, he may not be as talented as some of these other guys, but I like him. I like him a lot. And I think there should be a role for him really on the active roster, especially with the injuries that we have. Paris Campbell should be on our roster. in my opinion. You know, we're not going to have Britton Covey for a good amount of the season, if at all, with that shoulder injury. So I would love to see some more Paris Campbell. And Jahan Dotson, it takes time. He got there kind of at the end of the camp a little bit before Gene did, but not much, right? So it takes some time to learn everything and be comfortable and be in the right places. And then your quarterback's got to know you. He's got to know where you like the ball in a perfect situation. You've got to know where he's going to throw the ball. I saw a couple of times on Sunday, a little off topic, but on topic a little bit too. I saw a couple of times on Sunday where quarterbacks didn't properly place the ball to cause turnovers on downs, interceptions, or pass breakups, where if the ball was placed, so they were placing the ball on the shoulder on the inside, right? Just part of their body, high or low. But the defender's there, where if the ball was placed on the outside away from the defender, they can make the play. The defender's probably going to get there in a way, but they're able to make the play on the ball, and it's going to be harder for the defender to stop. Now, maybe tackles them, they don't get a touchdown, but a better throw versus a breakup, an incompletion, or an interception. So just those type of things, and maybe he's uncomfortable with the guys he doesn't know all that about yet. But I will say this. You had 2 weeks, buddy. You should have been out in the backyard somewhere with somebody. We need that buddy. Come on, buddy. We need that buddy.
Yeah.
Benny says, get Sidney Brown involved in the defense in some aspects of the game. He brings toughness and energy that's missing right now. That's what we're supposed to be getting from CJGJ, but I agree.
Yeah.
Benny also says Trotter Jr. is about to get some PT. Him and Jalen Hunt both need to get some PT. Because if we're not getting pressure, we're not getting the rush from who's out there, start putting other guys out there. That's my thing.
Yeah, what do you got to lose?
Yeah, if somebody's doing a job,
exactly.
Let them sit.
You already aren't creating pressures.
Yeah. The Trotter's one of our inside linebackers. So with Nakobe Dean and his issues, we may see a little bit of Jeremiah Trotter. He normally plays the wheel linebacker, but he may play some Mike with Nakobe Dean and the ankle and however that plays out the rest of the week. I wouldn't mind seeing Oren Burks a little bit too. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. So I think, again, Nakobe's had some struggles when guys get behind him, right? So in downs where you know it's probably going to be a pass and you've got a guy that's still working through that part of his game, that's why you have depth. Right? I mean, you can't 100% know, but if you're in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, they're probably going to throw the ball, right? They're probably not going to run the ball. So situational football, get a guy in there who's a little bit better on the passing side while you're working on Nakobe Dean developing that skill, because he hasn't missed time with injury, and you can't make up for actual playing time on the field. But that's that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a commercial break here. We are going to return, and we got a couple more things to get into. Y'all know how we do around here. Let's go. If I can get to the commercials.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can be the black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel.
All right, guys, these buttons are freezing today, but it's all good.
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text. Delete!
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids from the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
All right, good people. So we are back in the building. A couple more things we're going to discuss today. Benny says we'll be receiving bleed green hats next week. I ain't mad.
Ready.
Hey, if you got any visors, sir, I'll let you folk. Word up. All right, but so a couple more things here. So this is a tricky one, but I wanted to include it to get out, see how we feeling. What are you guys' expectations for the Eagles for the remainder of the season? And of course, we're talking about regular season because we don't never know about playoffs because it's all matchups, and if you're playing a team that the referees love and they don't love you and all that, but regular season. Whichever one you guys want to go ahead and set it off. But what are your expectations for the team for the rest of the season?
Man, to win games. To win games and run that ball. And the defense to actually play consistently. Both defense and offense to play a consistent game. I would like the offense to go out there and start getting points in the first quarter. The first 15 minutes of the game. And I just expect better play calling. Like, really, I need for somebody at the head to be like, look, let's see how Kellen Moore gonna do. Let him call the plays, Nick. You don't call nothing. For real. But I expect a more dominant team than what we've been seeing because it's not like we don't have the players. You know what I mean? So I want to see dominate on both ends of the ball. Period.
Yeah. I want to see it just a competent team in all three phases. It seems like it's either an offense is doing well. I mean, the offense hasn't looked fantastic since I don't even remember when, man. I don't even know if it looked competent at all last year. But it seems like they're all never on the same page. Either like the defense is looking decent, the offense looks terrible, or the offense is actually starting to get a rhythm and look good, and then the defense looks terrible. And it's just like they can never be on the same page. It's been quite a long time since we actually had an Eagles game where both the offense and defense looks good. It's been a long time since we've been able to beat teams by 2 touchdowns or more. I don't know. I'm not saying we need to be blowing every team out or anything, but we need to have some sort of competent offense and defense out on the field. I understand you may not have the greatest defense in the world. You're relying on a lot of young guys, had a lot of veterans leave and whatnot. But this offense, there's zero excuse not to be able to go out there and put points up on the board with all the talent you had. Just like Diva was saying. I don't know. I just hopefully, like you're saying, put points on the board in the first quarter and then keep putting points on the board. Whether you're getting field goals or actually scoring touchdowns, do something and get better in the red zone. I don't understand what the issue is with red zone offense here over not even just this year, but last year as well. It has been an issue. And I don't know if it's just scheming guys open or just if it's Jalen. I don't know. They need to figure out something to get this red zone offense figured out. Run the ball more. I don't know if that's just all it takes, but I mean, put Saquon Barkley in the red zone. Sometimes you put Kenny Gainwell in for some weird reason, especially in 2-minute offense. You rely on Kenny Gainwell for some reason. Use Saquon Barkley. He's right there. That's what you paid him this money to do. Utilize him. It doesn't make sense to me. And Will Shipley. Exactly. We saw what Will Shipley is able to do. Utilize him throughout these games. Start rotating these backs a little bit more. That way you don't have to rely on Saquon all the time or on Kenny Gainwell in certain situations. I don't know. I just want some sort of competent offense where we're not having a heart attack every single week throughout these games. I just would like a nice, relaxed game where offense is coming out firing all cylinders and we don't have to worry about it. We just sitting back and watching team put up points.
My expectation is for us to win our division. My expectation is for us to get a top seed in the playoffs. I believe we could still be a number 1 seed. My expectation is for us to win playoff games. My expectation is for us to get back to the Super Bowl. It ain't been nice the first couple of weeks. But again, it's really preseason because they won't play them in the preseason no more. So you got to get everything together. Now, what I will tell you is based on how we play on Sunday, those expectations may change. But at this time, those are some of the expectations that I have. Run the ball, start to get the playbook to a point where we're using our quarterback correctly. We're using our weapons correctly. We're making things simple for a guy like John Watson, who has come in, who can be a weapon for us, but he's got to get the reps with the quarterback, and the quarterback has got to get on the same page with him. So there's things that need to happen, but I expect those things to happen. Right? I expect us to go out and make the changes. I don't expect us to be perfect. We're going to lose at least one more game. That's going to make us come up here and about have a heart attack. We're going to win a couple of games. It's going to make us want to drink a whole bottle each, right? Because that's what we do. But I mean, it's just being an Eagles fan. Probably any NFL team, the way things are going. But just, I'm going to use one of their cliches. Be 1% better every day than you were the day before. That's what I expect for the Eagles.
Right.
That's all my expectations. I'm not worried about the X's and O's too much. You figured it out. But let's get somewhere. Let's do something. Let's get deep in the playoffs. Let's try to get that ring we didn't get a couple of years ago. And hey, if we're not trying to get a ring, what are we playing for?
Right.
Because we ain't getting number 1 pick because you got the Panthers and all these other teams that are just terrible. You got teams that ain't won a game yet. So we already won half our games. We might as well go and try to be good. I need to do a pep talk. They'll probably run me out of that, though. They'll probably run me up out of there.
Get you out there and nobody cares.
They're like, man, shut up.
Who is this guy?
But yeah, that's just my expectation. So y'all know what it is. The last thing that we've got to talk about is interesting because we don't know if it's gonna. We don't know how it's gonna go. We know what we hope, but we don't really know.
We know how it should go, but is it gonna go like that? Is the question.
Week 6 preview versus the Browns. So I'll start off by saying this. Everybody want to say Deshaun Watson quit and he don't want to play football no more. Don't guard him. Let him just go out there and do what he want to do and watch what happens to you. You still got to get pressure on him. You still have to make things difficult because he still will eviscerate you if you don't. Right? They may be a lot of people may be playing for their jobs. Coaches might be coaching for their jobs. We don't know. But what we do know is there's not a very good team. But hey, we've lost to a not a very good team. And then we lost to a team that we got beat down by a team that's probably mid. They turned around and lost to a team that we lost to that we shouldn't have lost to. So for me, when I look at this week 6 game, I just want to see how we respond. We had 2 weeks for game planning, for getting guys together, guys getting back healthy. But I will go this far. My personal opinion again. I'm not going to pull nobody else down with me. So if it doesn't turn out right, nobody else has to be associated with it. My personal opinion, we should be able to win a game without Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown with the other talent that we have. Can we win playoff games? Can we go to Super Bowl without those guys? No. But we should be able to win a regular season game without those guys against a team like Tampa Bay. And the fact that we went out there and the defense and the offense laid the egg. We can't have that. I would rather have the defense play okay and the offense play okay than have the offense play amazing, the defense just mid, or the defense go out there and dominate and the offense just mid. Give me decent play on both sides, decent to solid play on both sides, and I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say what I was about to say on air, so let's just say I'm happy. I'm happier than Diddy with some baby oil. If we do that,
Stupid.
probably shouldn't say that either, but it's much better than the other. Why? Your opening thoughts, because we'll come back around and talk some other things, but your opening thoughts on this preview for the Browns Eagles game.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a layup by all circumstances, but we know how this team is. We know how these coaches are. I don't have any idea what to expect as of right now as an Eagles fan going into this game. I mean, I know what we should be doing, like you said. I mean, the Browns don't have a great offensive line. Sean Watson hasn't looked great since he came back and everything. So even with a team that doesn't generate pressure very well, we should be able to get to the quarterback. But we don't know what the defense is going to look like there. The Browns, I mean, they can generate pressure on the defensive side, but I mean, we have seen Jalen Hurts get better against the blitz. It's just a matter of how this offense is going to look. Are they actually going to be utilizing some of these players to their strengths? And, like I mentioned before, using these, smaller routes or, go medium across the field, or are you just going to go for those big plays every time because you think you're playing a terrible team? I don't know. You can't count out any team in the NFL. I mean, it's an any given Sunday. I don't care if it's the Browns, the Panthers, the Chiefs, whatever. I mean, you can't go. We've already seen how the Eagles can go out here and make terrible quarterbacks look like Tom Brady. Not just this year, but in years previous. So hopefully that doesn't happen this week. I think we have all the talent we need to beat this team. We shouldn't need much. Like you mentioned, we shouldn't even have to have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith to win this game. But hopefully they come out here and show up and show out. AJ getting over 100 yards, maybe Smitty close to it. But we should be spreading the ball around. I mean, we know this team is capable of. We just haven't been able to see it as of yet. And hopefully this may be a get-right game.
Look pretty good against the Saints.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, they looked all right against the Packers, but I mean, the best to me they look was against the Saints this whole season.
So far.
I'm just go out there and win a football game. I just need for both sides of the ball to play accordingly. We shouldn't need AJ Brown, but we need AJ Brown, Devontae, because you just don't know. Okay, you don't know with the Eagles, so I'd rather have all my weapons that Jalen feel comfortable with for us to win this W. Like, I mean, honestly, we should go out there and beat them like the Cowboys did, about 40 points. But we know how the Eagles are, so it could be a close game. We could be out here having a heart attack come Sunday against the Browns, and we shouldn't. I mean, the Browns defense is not as good as they were last year. They're not. I mean, they get some pressure, but not the pressure they were getting last year. So, I mean, just go out there and play football and play smart. You should win the game. That's about it on that one.
All right, so matchups. Eagles defense versus Browns offense. Browns defense versus Eagles defense. Who do you guys have based on talent, based on what we've seen so far? Totally now. Let's not just talk about last game. Totally this season. What do you think the matchups will look like? Diva, we'll swing to you and just reverse that thing this time.
I mean, I feel like the defense should eat this game. Deshaun Watson is not really looking like we're used to seeing him look. I don't know what's going on with him this year, but I mean, the prior games that they lost, they got pressure on Deshaun, and it was pretty much a rough game for him. So the defense just needs to get pressure. So I think that's going to be a good matchup. The offense, I mean, I think we should ball out. Like, I really don't see why we shouldn't ball out on this game because their defense is really not that good. Like, I mean, they can create a little bit of pressure, but not. I don't feel like it's enough pressure to make Jalen really, really uncomfortable. Like, I feel like this should be probably a game Jalen should have a lot of rushing yards. So I think it's evenly matched. I mean, I think our offense is going to be better, but we'll see.
What do you think, Wyatt?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as far as like head to head, I mean, I obviously I'm gonna take the Eagles offense, and I'm even gonna edge out the Eagles defense over the Browns, even though we haven't looked too great. I mean, we've looked pretty decent whenever we allow teams to get to the red zone. We're able to get a lot of stops. It seems like that's where Vic Fangio kind of thrives with his bend don't break defense. It's just the middle of the field that we have to worry about and everything getting to the red zone. So I mean, I'm going to give the edge to the Eagles on both sides. It's just a matter of can they put the game plans together? Can they utilize everybody to their actual talents and get them to go out there and put a full game, full 6 minutes together? I mean, hopefully, like I mentioned, this is a get right game. I fully expect this offense to be able to go out there and put up some points and win this game pretty easily. Especially against a Browns team that is just trying to figure anything out whatsoever. I mean, we've actually had moments of offense and defense playing well through this season, whereas the Browns, they haven't really looked good on any accounts at all this season. So I don't know. I can't count them out because I've seen us do this with bad teams before. I've seen us go out there and play down to them, but my expectations just go out here and I don't know about blow the doors off them, but get a win, get a comfortable win.
So when I look at the Eagles defense versus the Browns offense, I would say overall we definitely should have the advantage. We do have DeJean probably playing a significant amount of snaps. This will be his first game playing, so we're going to have some miscommunication. So before the game, I'm gonna go ahead and tell everybody: if every time DeJean makes a misstep or he misses a read, or someone catches a pass, if you start talking about he sucks and you want Avonte Maddox back, I'm just going to leave social media for the day because I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it. Yeah. He has to have growing pains, right? He has to. First game playing. It's going to be some growing pains. If you don't expect that, then you don't understand what it is to be a rookie getting your first start, your first game that you're actually playing. So you got to give him some grace for that. I think the middle will not be anywhere near as bad. It hasn't been that bad except for that beatdown where everybody was bad. Even in the game against the Falcons, it wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. The game against the Packers, they really were just burning us deep by guys just getting outran by young receivers that just did it. So there hasn't been a lot of the donut hole as much as last year. A lot of regression in week 4, but I'm going to count it as 1/4 of my expectations and not the whole thing, like some people will do. The other thing I would think for our defense is we do have to start getting some pressure. This is the type of game where you start getting Hunt involved in that, and BG's playing well. So if he's playing well, I mean, let's get him some more snaps. He doesn't have to start, but let's give him some more snaps. If Huff is not going to play well, then, minimize the snaps. Maybe if he has limited snaps, maybe he'll come out there and be a beast in those snaps. That's what he's used to.
Yeah,
but
true.
Figure it out. Fangio is a guy that does make adjustments. We saw that from week to week. I guess that Heat just really dogged those boys in Tampa Bay. I'm not going to give it all to the Heat, but I'll say that's part of it. We just got to flush that. We can't, as a fan base, we can't continue 3 or 4 weeks from now still talk about, well, that game against Tampa Bay. Let it go. It's one game. Flush it. Everybody's had a bad game, except for the Minnesota Vikings and the Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone else has had at least one bad game. So, just got to flush it, keep it moving, and just try not to have this to be one of those games. Coming off a bye fresh, we got some new people in. You got A.J. Brown, should be back. Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson. About to say Landon Dixon, Lane Johnson. So we got several guys that weren't playing, getting their opportunity to get back in. Sometimes it may take you a game to get hit, especially concussion. Guys have been concussed. Sometimes you got to take a hit or two to stop that, a little flinching because of what happened the last time we got hit. So we'll see how that plays out as well. But I expect us to win this game. I'm not one of those guys that, we should win this game by 14, 21 or whatever. We just need to win every game by 1 point.
Yeah, exactly. Just get us a
dub.
Doesn't matter.
I'm one of those guys. We go out there and we beat them by 35. Yeah, go Eagles. We killed them. We beat them by 1. Yeah, go Eagles. We won. I'm just trying to win games. I'm trying to fly with wins. How we get to those is how we get to those. But we should look good. Our offense versus their defense kind of alluded to that already. The other thing I would add to that piece is very simply this: take the plays that are there, run the freaking ball. You got 3 backs, give them all carries. If you're not going to give Will Shipley carries, then either say A, I'm not giving carries, we're going to deactivate him and get another wide receiver, or B, put him in the slot. Let's see what we can do in the slot for a few times. We're not going to do nothing else with him.
We've seen it in training camp. Why haven't they done it in the season at all?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We use your weapons, give some different looks, make people have other things they have to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on, but essentially, Eagles Elite, that's it. That's the preview. Go out there, win the game. We need to do what we need to do. There's no reason for us not to. There's no reason for us not to multiple games. There shouldn't be a lot of unwinnable games, period, left in our schedule. There's games we could lose, absolutely. We play Baltimore, and Baltimore is going to run you into submission. But you've seen they'll let you come back in the fourth. So even if we get down, we just got to weather the storm and keep it moving.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beatable teams. We just need to beat them.
Yeah.
And
we got the
the
easiest strength of schedule out of everybody the rest of the season. Like, I know that may not mean much to a lot of people, but it's in our favor. You just have to make the best of it.
Well, when you got, because we play Buffalo again, right?
No, I don't think so.
Because we play that whole division: Cincinnati, Cleveland,
Steelers.
Oh, it's Cincinnati, Cleveland, Steelers, and
Ravens.
Ravens is that division, yeah. So we got that division. Steelers could be tough because they don't turn over the ball. They don't score a lot, but they don't turn over the ball.
They play very
Ravens,
safe.
They're going to be hard. All the divisional games, because we haven't played one divisional game yet, they're going to be interesting and hard. And everybody won, so that means everybody has as many wins as we do. Thankfully, the Giants have one more loss, but it's time to get on it.
Yeah, have to.
Any last words, Wyatt, before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, I mean, most of the show we've been talking about, kind of looking dour, talking about, all the bad things that have been happening. That's just because we've seen everything that happened last year. And then, of course, like a lot of the issues this season so far. But you got to think, we still, like you mentioned before, we're only 2-2. We're only 4 games into the season so far. There's a lot of season left. There's a lot of time to get this corrected, go out here and try to win the division, win the conference, make a run in the playoffs. There's so much time left. We just can't be looking at the sky as falling as of yet. I know we're talking bad and all this stuff, but that's just, we got to look in the mirror. We got to try to point out the stuff that needs fixed. That's what we do here at Eagles Elite. So, I mean, we talk about the good things when they happen, but that's been far and few between as of recently. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we can get corrected and, make a run here. There's a lot to be excited about going forward in the season.
Fair enough. So Cleveland Browns.
Yes, sir.
For Eagles Diva, for my man Wyatt, it's your boy Cool McCain. Always remember, tell 4 people that you think are your friends and 4 people who may not like you so much. Just because they may or may not like you doesn't mean they won't like us. And also, it's never where you start. It's always where you finish. Oh, and hashtag the elite. Hashtag fly Eagles fly. Make sure your butt's in these seats watching us next week or standing at the gym, wherever you at. Bring some friends. And don't forget, at Shady Sports on YouTube, if you're not already at Shady Sports Network, at Eagles Elite Podcast, and everywhere else you can find this wonderful program, because there are other more places coming. We'll holler. We'll see you next week. Make sure you're here. We're going to be here.
Go Birds.